My name is Ian Burchett. I'm the Director of Media Relations here at the Department of Foreign Affairs and International Trade. Bonjour, je m'appelle Ian Burchett. Je suis le Directeur du Service de Relations avec les médias au ministère des Affaires étrangères et Commerce international. I'd like to welcome you to this press conference on the Security and Prosperity Partnership Ministerial Meeting. Bienvenue à cette conférence de presse sur la réunion ministérielle sur le partenariat nord-américain pour la sécurité et la prospérité. Me gustaría dar la bienvenida a esta conferencia de prensa por la Alianza para la Seguridad y la Prosperidad de América del Norte. J'aimerais inviter Peter McKay.
And I'd like to invite Peter McKay, Minister for Foreign Affairs and the Minister for Atlantic Canada Opportunities Agency, to make a brief statement.
Bienvenue tout le monde.
Thank you very much. Welcome everyone. I'm very pleased to be here with my dear colleagues, the Secretary Espinosa and Secretary Rice.
Colleagues Secretary Rice and Secretary Espinosa, and our other colleagues here in Ottawa today on this balmy Ottawa afternoon. I think it's fitting that for the first time the three of us would meet under the same roof. It's in the context of the SPP, the Security and Prosperity Partnership. It's all about cooperation amongst our neighbors, and that's what we have sought to do today, is to further that cooperation. Le fil conducteur de nos discussions.
The main line of our discussions has been the promotion of an improvement in the cooperation environment and a greater knowledge of the ties joining us as parts of governments and citizens in the same continent.
And continuing this common thread in our discussions as to how we promote greater understanding and greater appreciation for what binds us together as governments, as citizens on a shared continent. We all recognize the unique relationship that Canada, Mexico, and the United States enjoy, and we share the objective of making North America the most desirable place to live, the safest place to work, to raise a family, and to invest in the entire world. It's for practical reasons that we want to maximize the benefits that flow to the citizens of all three countries. Our discussions today also touched upon what's happening elsewhere in the hemisphere. We talked about the contribution that we make as democratic governments with market-based economies. And we talked about how we can address common challenges and achieve common goals. Finally, we talked about global issues. And we talked about how we must continue to share this cooperation and sense of working together in areas and on issues that have common cause, and offering ways in which we can collectively make a contribution to the world. And I would now conclude by giving my colleague opportunity to say a few words as well.
Cooperation and further understanding in all fields of activity.
Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice.
Thank you very much, Minister McKay. Thank you, Peter. And thank you very much for the gracious way in which you and your colleagues have welcomed us here, and to the City of Ottawa for hosting this wonderful event. I'm one of 9 cabinet ministers here today. We have been reviewing our very close cooperation through the Security and Prosperity Partnership of North America, the cooperation between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. It's very clear when you sit through these meetings that we have the broadest range of issues and the deepest range of relationships. And indeed, it's more than just sharing borders or increasing trade. Today we've talked about things that really matter to the lives of Canadians and Mexicans and Americans. We've talked about how to meet public health problems, how to resolve environmental threats, how to respond to natural disasters, how to secure dependable supplies of clean energy, and how to combat criminal organizations. This is a broad agenda that is going to make life better for our people. It is the only way that we can achieve security and prosperity for our people, is through this cooperation. We've also had a chance as foreign ministers to talk about how we cooperate in the region and indeed in the world, because we share values as democracies and wish to see democratic principles upheld in our hemisphere and throughout our globe. I very much look forward to the further work of the SPP, and I was delighted to be joined here by my colleagues, Secretaries Chertoff and Gutierrez. It has been a very good working year for us since our heads of state met, and I think we have a very good agenda ahead of us, and I look forward to continued work. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. As you three leaders meet here, there are a growing number of people in each of your countries who have expressed concern about the Security and Prosperity Partnership. This is addressed to all three of you. Can you say today that this is not a prelude to a North American Union, similar to a European Union? Are there plans to build some kind of superhighway connecting all three countries? And do you believe all of these theories about a possible erosion of national identity stem from a lack of transparency from this partnership?
Thank you for... Well, let me begin. And I guess I've read some things from my opposition in Canada. I'm not sure these are generally expressed concerns, but a couple of my opposition leaders have speculated on massive water diversions and superhighways to the continent, maybe interplanetary, I'm not sure as well.
And I'm amused by some of the speculation, some of the old, you call them political scare tactics. If you've been in politics as long as I have, you get used to that kind of technique, where you lay out a conspiracy and then force people to try to prove it doesn't exist. And that's just the way some people operate. And so I appreciate that question. I'm amused by the difference between what actually takes place in the meetings and what some were trying to say takes place. It's quite comical, actually, when you realize the difference between reality and what some people are talking on TV about.
Manitoba is also taking a major role in the development of a mid-continent trade corridor.
Maybe interplanetary, I'm not sure.
Connecting our northern port of Churchill with trade markets throughout the central U.S. and Mexico.
Speculation.
An alliance has been built with business leaders and state and city governments spanning the entire length of the corridor.
Conspiracy.
When fully developed, the trade route will incorporate an inland port in Winnipeg with pre-clearance for international shipping.
Maybe interplanetary, I'm not sure.
Conspiracy.
Maybe interplanetary, I'm not sure.
It's quite comical, actually, when you realize the difference between reality and what some people are talking on TV about. Reality, and what some people are talking on TV about. The United States.
But it got to the point where the government was contracting out trying to figure out what work should be done. And then they wanted to contract the work itself. Now they needed to oversee whether the money was being used effectively, so they wanted to go to private contractors to do that as well. Well, that's an invitation to a lot of fraud, waste, and abuse.
Did you find fraud, waste, and abuse in that process?
Yes, we found billions of dollars that cannot be accounted for, that cannot be justified, and it's a scandal.
A scandal made worse, says Waxman, because the person who should be cleaning it up, Secretary of State Condoleezza Rice, has not been forthcoming with the committee. Her Republican allies on the committee said she was too busy to testify.
Given the number of House and Senate committees with far more direct jurisdictional claims on her time than ours, this precedent would make testifying up here her full-time job, to the detriment of our national security and stature.
We want to ask her questions and get them on the record. I think the American people are entitled to that, and I respectfully disagree.
Clear violation of the law. When will the government stop serving up nonsense and demand some real accountability from the Prime Minister's own staff.
Stop breaking the law. Honorable Government House Leader.